5. Tuesday, mostly cloudy with a high near 47. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
This is the Crime Stoppers Crime of the Week, sponsored by Barcom Security.
Hi, I'm Officer Drew Zabados, Crime Stoppers Coordinator for Sangamon and Menard counties. This week, Crime Stoppers is seeking information to assist the Springfield Police Department reference an aggravated battery, robbery, and theft that occurred near 11th and South Grand in Springfield, Illinois on January 7th, 2023 around 2:13 a.m. The victim was walking when they were approached by two young males on bicycles who were both wearing hooded sweatshirts. One of the males knocked the victim to the ground and both suspects began to search the victim's pockets. The suspects took approximately $30 and fled the area southbound. Photos of the suspects are not available at this time. If you can identify the suspects, call Crime Stoppers anonymously at 217-788-8427. Submit a tip on our website, cashfortips.us, or use the P3 app. If your tip results in an arrest, you could receive a cash reward up to $2,500. Remember, Crime Stoppers only want your information, not your name.
Catch a criminal, get a reward. Crime Stoppers of Sangamon and Menard County, sponsored by the Springfield office of Barcom Security. BarcomSecurity.com. Have a secure day.
If you have a security system, give this a try. Call them and see what their response time is. Can you talk to a real live person 24 hours a day, even weekends and holidays? Are they prompt to follow up with your service requests? Barcom Security is winning customers by outstanding performance on all of those fronts. Every second counts. Contact the Springfield office of Barcom Security for a free estimate and have a secure day.
When winter weather presents traveling challenges, SMTD is a convenient commuting alternative. The reliable SMTD fleet is warmed up and ready to go. No more early morning shoveling or scraping. You're just steps away from a stop. Check smtd.org for routes and schedules, then board an affordable, clean, climate-controlled SMTD bus. It'll take you to work, school, doctor's appointments, and beyond. Avoid driving and parking hassles and arrive on schedule with less stress. SMTD, your convenient commuting alternative. SMTD, moving together.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
92.7 WMAY.
Springfield's news and talk.
Well, happy Friday. It's been a long week. It's been a long couple of weeks, actually. Here with Springfield's Morning News, I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY. And Springfield's News and Talk. Today, we've got tons to get to, and a lot of it is going to focus on the Second Amendment and the gun ban and registry that was enacted this week. We're going to talk with Richard Pearson, Illinois State Rifle Association Executive Director, about the lawsuit that they're compiling, and we'll have that conversation with him in an hour from now. Also, we'll talk with Rhonda Zell. She is the president and co-founder of Chicago Guns Matter, and also the lead plaintiff in a case that went all the way to the Supreme Court challenging Chicago's gun laws years ago. She's going to join us to react as well. Plus, Tom DeVore, former Illinois Attorney General candidate for the Republicans. He's still an attorney, and he's going to update us on a case concerning vaccine mandates for some state employees. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up later this hour. And also a recent Inspector General report about the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services that shows there was a 40% increase in the number of children who had died after being on DCFS radar, for a total of 171 children in the year 2022. Just some of what's coming up here with Springfield's Morning News on WMAY. At 6:13, of course, you got some weather out there in central Illinois. Nice little blanket of some ice of sorts. I wouldn't really characterize it as snow. It is a little slippery when you get on it, but I did see some disabled vehicles on the side of the roads with first responders responding. So if you have to make it out today, just be careful. Add some extra time onto your commute, because it's only going to get up to a high of around 35 with the possibility of some more flurries throughout the day. Yesterday was a big day with a lot of sheriffs across the state saying that they are not going to comply with Governor J.B. Pritzker's gun ban and registry and the magazine prohibition that's now in effect. Now, absent any court order, that we do expect lawsuits to be filed as early as next week. And again, we'll talk with Richard Pearson from the State Rifle Association about that coming up next hour. But absent any court order, the law's in effect. You cannot go to a gun store if you're just a regular Illinoisan who has, rights in the Constitution under the First and Second and Third and Fourth and all the Bill of Rights. You cannot go to a gun store in Illinois and buy any of the more than 170 different semi-automatic firearms or any magazines for long guns that have more than 10 rounds or magazines for handguns that have more than 15 rounds. That's prohibited under the law that Governor J.B. Pritzker signed. Well, he had a growing list of county sheriffs and state's attorneys that have said that they are not going to comply with this. And in particular, you've got a map that's being compiled by a variety of different organizations and internet sleuths, and these obviously are maps that I've not fully confirmed myself, but just looking at the list in the stack of different news releases that have been put out of all the different counties that are saying no, they're not going to enforce this. It's pretty interesting. The map I'm showing on the live stream is all the different 102 counties. And the red ones are the ones saying that they won't comply. The white ones are the ones that either haven't made a statement or said that they will enforce it. So interesting to see that. And Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday, he was asked about the growing number of sheriffs across the state that aren't going to comply with this. And he was at an event in Quincy dealing with veterans' homes and new construction and expending tax resources to build new facilities for veterans who've had a pretty rough go here in Illinois. Anybody who's following along. Over the past 6, 7, 8, 9 years, veterans' homes have not had as much attention on their infrastructure. You had the Legionnaire's disease outbreak during the Rauner administration. You had the COVID outbreak in the Pritzker administration that was pretty deadly. But Governor Pritzker was on hand, but he was asked about the gun ban, and sheriffs across the state saying that they're just not going to enforce the gun ban. Here is what he had to say Thursday, different from what he had to say Tuesday evening. So here's Governor J.B. Pritzker, followed by Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell, who we talked with yesterday morning here on WMAY.
They took an oath of office to uphold the law. As law enforcement, that's their job, and I expect them to do that job. You can have all the resolutions and declarations that you want. The reality is that the laws that are on the books, you don't get to choose which ones people are going to follow. If you don't like it, go petition for a change in the legislation or in Springfield. But as it is, you don't get to decide I'm going to drive 150 miles an hour on the highway and there should be no consequences. And the same thing is true about carrying out the assault weapons ban and a ban on high-capacity magazines, and also switches that are changing regular guns into essentially machine guns or automatic weapons. So I think we did the right thing. It was a consensus. There even was a Republican vote for it, and an overwhelming support across the state of Illinois, including in downstate Illinois, for this kind of a ban. Remember, nobody's guns are getting taken away from them. There are plenty of other weapons that aren't covered at all by this ban, and this ban is really focused on the same kinds of weapons that were banned by the federal government for 10 years, and we saw a significant downdraft in the number of people who were shot and killed as a result of the passage of that assault weapons ban. We expect the same thing to happen here in Illinois.
Just because they had enough votes to pass this, time will tell whether or not it upholds constitutional scrutiny, but that doesn't mean we have to enforce it if we clearly know this is a violation of our Second Amendment rights. Our deputies have a lot to do in this county. Our job is to provide this security blanket for all the county, and the last thing we want to do is make a criminal out of a legal gun owner. And, we are not going to proactively go around and see if somebody registered their weapon. We're going to use good discretion. We always have had discretion on our side. And that is one thing we're going to do. We're going to use discretion, educate people as to what the law says, and ensure that they know, what they should be doing. And again, one thing we will not do is bring them to our jail. If that is the sole charge that they have is a violation of this act, they will not be housed in our jail, and we'll make that clear to all the chiefs in Sangamon County. Absent other circumstances, absent other crimes that were committed or lengthy criminal history, we will not be housing anybody solely on that charge.
So again, that was Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell in a conversation we had with him yesterday, really seeming to reiterate the sentiment of that growing list of sheriffs across the state who say that they are not going to enforce Governor J.B. Pritzker's gun ban and registry. And again, that list is rather large of the 102 different counties that there are all across the state of Illinois. All right, coming back, we will talk with Courtney Redmond. He is the Illinois director for the National African American Gun Association. I talked with him yesterday, and he talks about the prospect of uneven enforcement in this and how it's likely going to impact minority communities more. While he opposes the gun ban, he recognizes that there are going to be some issues with enforcement and possibly leading to mass incarceration. So we'll share that with you coming up next here on WMAY. Let's take a look at Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast, where today you've got a high of around 35 degrees, and that's after we've gotten a blanket of some snow, ice, or whatever you want to call it, a nice freezing mixture. But again, the high of 35 today, the low down to around 21. For your Saturday, sunshine with a high of 40. Sunday, partly sunny, the high of 47. For MLK Day, you got rain with a high of 55. And then Tuesday, partly sunny with a high of 47. Right now, 25 degrees at 620 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions, and did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
Hi, I'm Ed Lex, your Springfield Edward Jones financial advisor. There is nothing more important to me than understanding what's important to you. Only then can you and I work through our established process to build your personalized strategies and the specific actions needed to help you achieve your financial goals. I'll continue to partner with you and your family throughout your life, revisiting your goals and risk tolerance, as well as the strategies we develop to help keep you on track towards your goals. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
You will sleep better this year. You will sleep better this year. You will sleep better this year as long as you get to Just Beds during the store-wide New Year mattress sale. Bemco, Sealy Posturepedic, Chatham & Wells, Arctic Breeze, and Max Life are all on sale. Now that's how you kick off a new year. No more sleepless nights this year. As always, free delivery, setup, and haul away. You will sleep better this year. Just see the Yawn Exterminators at Just Beds on Montvale Drive in Springfield.
Just Beds. Less frustration, more vacation. Book a nonstop flight from Springfield's Abraham Lincoln Capitol Airport, SPI, to Fort Myers, Punta Gorda at Allegiant.com and experience the sun, fun, and relaxation of Southwest Florida. Find low fares and save big by bundling at Allegiant.com. Fly from SPI and spend more time enjoying vacation. Book your flight from SPI at Allegiant.com. Fly local. Fly SPI. Take the easy way out.
Take the easy way out. Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
You can jumpstart your car with a device you can hold in your hand. I'm Laurie from Rex Battery, and if you find yourself with a dead battery, the NOCO Genius Boost is all you need. You don't have to wait for a friend to show up, call a tow truck, or hope a stranger has jumper cables. If you have the NOCO Genius Boost, you have the charge you need to get your car going again. One charge can get you as many as 20 jumps. Rex Battery always carries the latest technology, and these small devices pack big power, enough oomph to start your cars, trucks, and even boats. They even have USB ports so you can get your phone powered up if you're stranded. The NOCO Genius Boost. Pick up one today at Rex Battery, Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
John, the price of groceries is enough to send somebody into a panic mode these days.
Yeah, especially when the refrigerator goes kaput.
Even more so. We got a call from a customer who had that problem with a freezer load of those expensive groceries.
And that'll keep you awake at night just thinking about it.
Right. So, because Dick Van Dyke stocks the 100 most used parts, we were able to send a factory-trained tech out to her place to fix the problem before she lost any of that food.
And he wasn't some subcontractor either.
Trained right here locally by the team of Dick Van Dyke.
You know, one way to fight inflation?
Yep.
Keep from having to buy expensive stuff twice.
Yes, you got that right.
This is Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store, which means you have the comfort of knowing that if anything goes wrong, we'll make it right. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Anxiety. There's plenty of it to go around for just about everyone these days, but the question is, how are you dealing with it? Anxiety can make things difficult. If you find yourself reaching for drugs or alcohol as the solution, chances are your anxiety has gotten out of control. It's time to pick up the phone and call Gateway Foundation. You'll talk with someone who holds the strictest confidentiality so that you can open up and learn about treatment options. Our team of professional counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, and physicians have a long history of helping people like you get back on track. During the healing process, you'll find that there is nothing to be ashamed of. Calling Gateway Foundation is that important first step towards getting away from the self-medication of alcohol and other substances and on the road towards safe, rewarding, and sustainable recovery. Call Gateway Foundation at 877-505-HOPE for a free, private, confidential screening. Gateway Foundation, addiction medicine saving lives.
Hi, I'm Misty Busher. For the last 8 years, I've been your Springfield City Treasurer. During that time, I modernized the office and earned over $8 million in interest. I'm proud to be a Springfield resident, and my husband Mike and I have raised our 2 children here. I'm running for mayor, and in the coming months, I will share with you my specific ideas on how I will bring new energy and leadership to help our city grow and prosper. I'm Misty Busher, and I'm working to earn your vote for Springfield Mayor.
Paid for by Friends of Misty Busher.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
All right, the daily poll, it's up now, and you can vote at WMAY.com/poll or on the WMAY mobile app. And today's question is, what do you think of the county sheriffs who say that they won't enforce the state's new assault weapons ban? I support them taking a stand against what they see as a bad law, or their opinion of the law doesn't matter. It's the law, and it should be enforced. Well, overwhelming 83% of you say that you support the sheriffs who say they're not going to support a gun ban and registry. Go vote at WMAY.com/poll. We will update you all throughout the morning here on WMAY, so stay tuned for that. All right?
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop. Listen on demand at WMAY.com. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk.
When there were hearings on the proposed gun ban, there were, of course, 2 hearings just loaded with individuals who supported the ban, victims of mass shootings. One of those 2 had some opponents, just regular citizens getting up and speaking. But then the 3rd hearing came around, and that was at the Illinois State House, where they actually, no, I think that was the 4th hearing. It's been a wild ride these past couple of weeks with the gun story. But at the hearing at the State House, right before they brought it up and passed the first version in the House, Courtney Redmond, he's the Illinois director of the National African American Gun Association, he spoke out against it. We heard some of those comments while I connected with him yesterday to talk with him about how this is going to be enforced in urban areas by certain counties, while other counties aren't going to enforce it. Redmond opposes this, and he talks about that when I asked him for his reaction to the measure being enacted this week.
Well, I feel it mostly impacted the African-American community. Not to say that all of the state of Illinois, that when this bill was signed, it was a sad day in Illinois that our rights were trampled on. And I think that's throughout all of Illinois. I think we all felt that equally. But if you really think about it, and I think Ed Sullivan said it best, there are about 70 counties that said we're not going to enforce this law. So it's going to leave up to maybe St. Clair County, where you have a black population, and then you have Cook County. They're going to enforce the laws, and so that's going to happen in our neighborhoods. It's going to happen in black and brown neighborhoods. They're not. Highland Park had little to no issue with crime until that monster went and killed the people at the parade. So they had little to no crime. We've had countless shootings in the city of Chicago. We've had so many people that have died in the city of Chicago because of violence. And I don't call it gun violence because violence is only violence. And I try to entail that to a person, not the actual object that they use. But there's violence throughout the whole city of Chicago and Cook County. There wasn't any bills written up that were written up for to help with these type of situations. Right? No one talks about the fact that these kids are on opioids and they're using it to cope. They're not talking about the depression that happens because of the PTSD in these neighborhoods. These kids have no coping skills, and we have no social outlet to help some of these kids. Besides, hey, we're gonna put on a festival for you to make you feel good. They haven't really addressed the issue. They're just talking about the reason why. They just talking about they have guns and they use them against each other. They're not really ready to sit down and focus on the real issues about depression and mental health in our community. So this is a feel-good bill to say that they want gun control because they think that that's going to curb the violence. This will not curb the violence. This only takes away from the law-abiding citizen. Until they really want to sit down and have a real discussion about how to fix Chicago's crime, we're going to still continue to have the crime that we have. I know that last year we had 700 shot and killed, close to 700 shot and killed, and I'm pretty sure it was over 700 homicides. So that's two different statistics. The year before we had over 800 homicides and 796, if I'm exact, shot and killed. Those are staggering numbers, and they're not going to address the real root of the problem.
Hearing some of the conversation I had with Courtney Redmond, he is the Illinois director of the National African American Gun Association, speaking out against the gun ban. And I asked him as well to kind of elaborate a bit more on how this is going to impact certain urban populations who may be already impacted in socioeconomic situations. If the, say, Cook County Sheriff's going to enforce this gun ban and registry, who really is that going to impact the most?
Well, look, I'm glad you said socioeconomic problems. We have to talk about the economical disparities, right? And that is going to play a factor into that. And yes, they brought on the Safety Act to say that they wanted to make it, fair all across the board, that someone can get out of jail. Well, the thing is, if someone's committing a violent crime, maybe they should stay in jail. But this is going to be another thing that's going to lead to mass incarceration. This will lead to another mass incarceration. I think, I can't remember if it's Thomas Jefferson. I'm pretty sure someone's going to correct me or something like that. But I would rather let 10 guilty men go than have one not guilty man locked up. I think that's how it goes. And you're going to lock up innocent people that don't know that they're not supposed to have a 15-round more than a 15-round magazine. You're going to lock up people that they're going to have a magazine more than 10 rounds. All because of the technical fact that they didn't know. And the reason why I say this is because you look when I teach my concealed carry classes and I start going through the law and Illinois law, there are a lot of people that are like, wait a minute, what can I carry? Wait a minute, when does this become law? And so if they don't know the law, they're going to get prosecuted by the law. And this is what is going to lead into our community, especially in Chicago, where we have a mayor that says she's going to play us to get guns off the streets. But then we have a revolving door in Cook County and Chicago of criminals getting back out on the street instead of people that can defend themselves.
Again, this is a conversation I had with Courtney Redmond yesterday. I was actually at the Capitol monitoring the House. That's why you heard that bell ring. They went ding, ding, ding. Actually, I think it was the Senate that had that bell ring. So apologize for that being so loud in some of your ears. But I asked Redmond as well, as the Illinois State Director of the National African American Gun Association, just a brief history of the minority populations in this country and their rights to keep and bear arms as is spelled out for all people in the U.S. Constitution with the Bill of Rights and the Second Amendment.
Well, even if you look back into the 1600s, look at during slavery, there were things called black codes that will restrict whether a slave from owning a firearm, and then even more when we were made whole, it restricted from black people in the black community from getting their firearms. There has always been some type of barrier to keep the black community from getting their firearms. And now we're faced with this in today's time. The growing demographic in 2020 and 2021 was the black community. All right, throughout all of this time, 2020 and 2021, we led. And what led that? Black women. Black women expeditiously bought firearms at a not alarming rate, but at a rapid rate. You started seeing concealed carry classes going up. You start seeing all of this. I think Joy Behar said one thing. She said that if you want to see gun control, then have the black community start buying firearms. And I looked at that, and that was just very much inherently racist as a comment as it can get, because now you're saying that they're gonna push for gun control because now that black people are into it. Now we have the black community buying guns expeditiously at a good rate, and now you want gun control.
So again, that's Courtney Redmond. He is the Illinois director of the National African American Gun Association. We'll be talking with him some more. He's planning some workshops in the near future. He already does a whole bunch of education, concealed carry classes. He's former military, so he definitely understands firearms well and is training people in the proper use of firearms, which we all should do if you are a Second Amendment advocate. But definitely we'll be talking with Courtney more in the future, so looking forward to that here with Springfield's Morning News on WMAY. Also coming up, we will talk with Richard Pearson, Illinois State Rifle Association. He will tell us about their lawsuit they're compiling. We'll also connect with Rhonda Ezell. She was the lead plaintiff in a case that went all the way to the Supreme Court challenging Chicago's gun laws, and she's also president and co-founder of Chicago Guns Matter. So that's coming up in the next hour. Later on in this next half hour, we'll talk about some non-gun related issues, but still very controversial. The Department of Children and Family Services, a new report out about some problems that continue to persist at DCFS, and also Tom DeVore, former Republican Illinois Attorney General candidate. He'll join us to talk about lawsuits he's still got going on when it comes to COVID-19 mandates, in particular vaccine mandates for state employees. So we'll get to that and more, but we are late for news here with Springfield's Morning News on WMAY. It's now 6:36 at 25 degrees.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the three big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story: Russian President Vladimir Putin has reshuffled his generals in Ukraine, highlighting a rift between the Russian Defense Ministry leadership and a millionaire whose private military force, known as the Wagner Group, has played an increasingly visible role in the Ukrainian invasion. Putin's shakeup of the military brass was seen as a bid to show that the Defense Ministry still has his support as the conflict nears the 11-month mark. Springfield mayoral candidate and current city treasurer Misty Boucher wants city council approval before any debt of $10,000 or more to the city may be forgiven. Boucher says as treasurer, she has seen debts as large as $240,000 wiped off the books, and that the practice is unfair to taxpayers. Boucher is challenging incumbent Mayor Jim Langfelder and pledged to issue a monthly report to the city council on all debts and fees that have been waived or forgiven. A number of Illinois sheriffs, including Jack Campbell in Sangamon County, say they won't enforce elements of the state's new assault weapons ban or jail people charged only with violations of the law. Campbell believes the law to be unconstitutional, even though no judge has ruled on its constitutionality. Campbell declared he wouldn't take action without a warrant, court order, or an indication that the person is a threat to public safety. Sheriffs in Menard, Christian, Logan, and other counties also say they will not enforce the new law. Springfield hazmat crews have sounded the all clear after a small fire at a business yesterday. Fire crews were called to Solomon Color on Color Plant Road. The flames had already been put out by the sprinkler system, but hazardous materials crews were called in because of the large amount of flammable materials on site. Crews ventilated the building and checked the air and water on the ground and found everything within normal levels. One worker was treated for minor burns. The prosecutor recently appointed by U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland to investigate the discovery of classified documents at President Biden's Delaware residence and in an office he used before he became president, announced he is quitting to join the private sector. Federal prosecutor John Lausch is a Trump appointee and oversaw indictments and prosecutions of a number of major Illinois political officials, including former Illinois House Speaker Mike Madigan. Time is running out to see the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum's exhibit about survivors of genocide. Stories of Survival, Object, Imagery, and Memory was put together in consultation with the Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center. The exhibit closes on January 22nd and will be replaced this spring by a new exhibit, Here I Have Lived, Home in Illinois, which tells the story of how various people made homes and lives for themselves in the state. The new exhibit opens March 23rd. Your dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
2023 has barely started, and already we have our first Friday the 13th.
Oh, man.
That's right. Now, many people believe 13 is unlucky. Taylor Swift certainly does not, and she certainly disproves any unluck there.
That's right.
Also, it's called triskaidekaphobia, if you are afraid of the number 13.
It's easy for you to say.
It is, yes. It's not easy for me to say the fear of Friday the 13th. I can't even pronounce that one. Here's Green Toyota's Casey Lane.
If you're looking for a muscle car, we've got a really cool 2020 Dodge Challenger RT with the Shaker Package V8 with a manual transmission. You know how I love those manual transmissions. And if you're going to drive a muscle car, you really need a manual transmission. Black exterior, black interior. It's a 2020. It only has 13,807 miles on it.
Wow. Yeah, and by the way, Taylor Swift has had me rethink this whole 13 unlucky deal, you know? I'm telling you, she's charmed. We're on West Wabash. See us as soon as you can at Green Toyota, Volkswagen, Audi, and remember,
we're all in this together.
Start the new year off with a bang at Hendricks Home Furnishings going on now. Take up to 30% off tag sale prices on all in-stock Lazy Boy furniture. That's right, up to 30% off of Hendricks' already discounted sale prices, not from MSRP or list prices like the other stores. In stock and ready for delivery only at Central Illinois' go-to store for Lazy Boy deals. Family-owned Hendricks Home Furnishings, delivering fine furniture since 1949 on Route 4 in Verdon.
Well, Mickey and I are retiring and closing the store, and these are the final days. The remaining inventory is priced up to as low as 17 cents on the dollar. Everything's got to go. Many people have asked where they should go for their service needs. Well, most of the remaining jewelry stores in Springfield have goldsmith shops and are capable of cleaning and checking your fine jewelry. It's been a great run, and we thank you so much. We are locking the doors on Saturday the 14th at 3 o'clock.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Chance of flurries during most of the day with a high near 34, low around 21 tonight. Tomorrow mostly sunny with a high near 40, low around 30. Sunday mostly cloudy and breezy with a high near 47. Rain Sunday night, low around 43. Monday, rain likely in the morning with a high near 55. Tuesday mostly cloudy with a high near 47. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
How would you like to work for the area's premier multimedia marketing and advertising company right here in Springfield? Well, here's your opportunity. At Midwest Family, we're looking for talented and dynamic account executives who thrive in a fast-paced working environment. Those who are passionate, self-motivated, goal-oriented, and highly competitive. Are you a problem solver with great communication skills? Do you have a grasp on today's digital media? And do you have the ability to cultivate lasting relationships and partnerships? If this sounds like this is for you, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on our careers tab. At Midwest Family Springfield, we offer unique sales career opportunities where you're given a challenging mission, world-class tools like HubSpot CRM, ongoing training, and the chance to realize your full potential as a marketing and advertising sales professional. This is Rob Zavitka, Director of Sales and Business Development Manager at Midwest Family Springfield. Are you my next candidate? If so, please apply online today at MidwestFamilySBI.com and click on the Careers tab. Midwest Family is an equal opportunity employer.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
You can jumpstart your car with a device you can hold in your hand. I'm Laurie from Rex Battery, and if you find yourself with a dead battery, the NOCO Genius Boost is all you need. You don't have to wait for a friend to show up, call a tow truck, or hope a stranger has jumper cables. If you have the NOCO Genius Boost, you have the charge you need to get your car going again. One charge can get you as many as 20 jumps. Rex Battery always carries the latest technology, and these small devices pack big power, enough oomph to start your cars, trucks, and even boats. They even have USB ports so you can get your phone powered up if you're stranded. The NOCO Genius Boost. Pick up one today at Rex Battery, Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
I'm Peter Greenberg, and this is today's Ion Travel Minute. If you thought planes were full in 2022, get ready for even more crowded aircraft this year. The primary reason? Not soaring demand from American travelers, but for the first time in nearly 3 years, of Chinese travelers. As quarantine restrictions are lifted, forward-looking airline bookings to and from China have jumped, and to neighboring Asian countries as well. This means more crowded flights from Asia to popular U.S. destinations as well, like Hawaii and California. For the moment, the Chinese travelers are showing no sensitivity to price, which means that other travel-related industries, ranging from duty-free stores to amusement parks, may also see significant price hikes. For more information, visit petergreenberg.com. I'm Peter Greenberg, and this is today's Ion Travel Minute.
Parenting comes with a lot of questions. At Bye Bye Baby, we're here to help you prep for everything you expected and everything you didn't, with brands you trust and expert advice. Text BABY to 42229 to get $20 off your in-store purchase of $100 or more, only at Bye Bye Baby.
92.7 WMAY.
Springfield's news and talk.
The Department of Children and Family Services, Illinois' child welfare agency, has for years been facing all kinds of problems, and different directors over many years, different administrations, not able to get a grasp on what's going on there. Well, a most recent report from an inspector general shows that the problems continue to persist. Good morning. It is Springfield's Morning News on WMAY. If you go to the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services Inspector General page, you can see their annual reports. I mean, they go on, and you can actually access the reports all the way back to 1995. But the most recent report issued last week is the January 2023 report, and it's 248 pages long. You can see all of it and read serious investigations and the outcomes. And one of the biggest alarming factors is when you get to the page on compiling all of the statistics of children who've lost their lives while on DCFS radar. It's been increasing, and it has increased quite a bit in just the past year alone. So if you look at the chart that I'm pulling up here on the video stream, if you're following along, and if you're not following along, you can always follow along. 6 to 9 weekday mornings here on WMAY. We stream on Twitter, Bishop on Air. We stream on Facebook, 92.7 WMAY. We also stream on YouTube, Bishop on Air. So you can find all of those different channels and stream to your liking. But we do have video components here where I share some of the documentation of the things that we talk about. But here it is, the chart, which shows the number of children who've died while on the radar of DCFS. And for the year 2022, 171 kids died. That is up from 122 the year before. And that's up from 102 back in 2020. Now, 2019, it was at 123, but you see at least the year from 2021 to 2022, that's a 40% increase, a difference of around 49 children. 49 more children died in DCFS custody or on their radar than the year before. That alarms some people, including Tom Weber, who is a state representative Republican from Lake Villa. He took to the House floor before they adjourned the previous General Assembly, and he shared some of his concerns and urged lawmakers to do something about this. It's been too long, and we've seen these numbers not get better. They've gotten worse.
So once again, I rise to address a serious problem that our state has. The Department of Children and Family Services, who receive $1.5 billion of taxpayer money. Their job is to protect children who are reported to be abused or neglected. The department is in charge of keeping our most vulnerable children not just alive, but safe. I urge each of you to read the recent Inspector General's report on DCFS from last week. I can only describe it as disturbing. You've heard me over time and years talk about some of the children who have lost their lives, but this annual report shows a 40% increase in deaths of children whom were on DCFS's radar. One child is too many. 2 children is too many. But the report shows that 171 children that were on DCFS's radar lost their lives. Governor Pritzker may not want to admit it because he chose Director Smith, his guy to control the agency, but it's clear that there's time for a change. It is time for change. It is time for meaningful legislation and action. It's time for oversight, and it's time for us to work together and address this ongoing issues as we look towards our next year and next session. So I urge all of you to please work together with myself and others to hopefully make a difference in a child's life. Thank you.
So DCFS Director Mark Smith, he's actually been found in contempt of court like 8 times for the improper placement of children in DCFS care, and the problems haven't seemed to go away anytime soon. We'll keep an eye on all of that as well here with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on WMAY. Stay tuned. We got Tom DeVore. He's going to join us next. All right, 6:50 now. From Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions, and did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
What's the best thing to do with your money during uncertain times? Financial experts agree products like certificates of deposit and money market accounts can be a safe haven from a bumpy economy. At Warren Boynton State Bank, we've been helping people find ways for their money to make money for 145 years. Certificates of deposit, or CDs, give you a guaranteed return on your money. Money market accounts are a way to let your money earn higher interest with the flexibility of a checking account. These are just 2 options we have at Warren Boynton, each designed to give your money security, and they just might help you sleep better at night. At Warren Boynton, you can say we've seen a few things over the years. A lot has happened since we opened our doors in 1877, but no matter what was going on in the rest of the world, we've stood by folks in Central Illinois. A little extra confidence during challenging economic times. Warren Boynton State Bank, WBSB.net, member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank.
Hey, John, when you think of the word supply chain, what's your next impulse?
No, turn off the news, run for cover, start whimpering.
Yeah, well, a customer of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World wrote in that they visited the store wanting to buy a microwave.
Something that used to be so simple.
Oh, right. You know what they walked out with?
Let me guess. A microwave.
Exactly. Dick Van Dyke had what they needed in stock, and the customer also remarked as to how helpful the salespeople were, too. Supply chain problems are still a thing, but this customer got the help they needed, and they wrote in to thank us.
You know, a little less whimpering in today's world can't be a bad thing.
This is Dennis Reekin, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Supply chain issues are minimized when you have multiple locations and people who know how to help you with your next purchase. All we do is appliances, and we do them better than anyone else. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance. get the whole store.
As you sit slightly sideways staring at a ditch, it's about now you're thinking, I sure wish I'd have visited Lauterbach and done something about these tires. Worry not, we've all been there. And Lauterbach is here. It's the Lauterbach man, and I'm overlooking stacks of fresh tires ready for your car. Putting two and two together, it's pretty clear that a place called Lauterbach Tire is quite exceptional when it comes to those rubber miracles. See, good tread and properly balanced tires can mean the difference between you choosing when to stop and that slushy ditch choosing for you. And it's not exaggerating to say better tires can mean a safer Springfield. I'm serious about safety, and I know you are too. So let's meet over lunch or whenever is convenient for you and find you a nice set of safe tires. You'll be happy, and that car in front of you right now will be happy too. See my talented techs at Lauterbach Tire on Wabash today, and drive safely now.
If you're like most Americans, you can see things are out of control. Global problems have local consequences, too many of them. And if the next news headline spins us into chaos, you'd better be ready. Grocery store supply chains are only as strong as their weakest link. Don't wait for them to break. Today's the day to secure emergency food for everyone in your family. My Patriot Supply is America's largest preparedness company. Our specially packaged and delicious food stays fresh for up to 25 years in storage. It'll be there when you need it. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and pick up several emergency food kits. There are a dozen different sizes that average over 2,000 calories per day. As we all know, calories equals energy equals survival. And as you'd expect from a true preparedness company, our food kits are in stock and ship quickly. Those who know what's coming are preparing today. Go to mypatriotsupply.com. mypatriotsupply.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-306-8158 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-306-8158. That's 800-306-8158. What do you have to lose? Call 800-306-8158. Again, 800-306-8158.
Take Springfield's morning news with Greg Bishop everywhere with the free WMAY mobile app. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's news and talk.
All right, we seem to be having some connection problems trying to get with Tom DeVore, an attorney, and we may have to try to connect with him a little bit later on this morning. I think I've got some time at about 7:40. We could possibly connect with him, or 7:50. Just looking at my planner here, and we'll get that all squared away. But it's concerning, COVID-19 vaccines and mandates on certain state employees, in particular employees with the Illinois Department of Corrections, and how they're being impacted. Has a vaccine mandate been lifted? Some of the indication that I've seen on some Facebook groups says that much, and also an email that DeVore was forwarded showing some of that. So we'll try to connect with Tom sometime this morning to get you the latest on that. But we've got a few minutes here. If you want to call in live and local at 217-629-7970, you can react to either the growing number of sheriffs that are saying that they're not going to enforce the governor's Wait, that was 2 years ago. I apologize. Whew. It's been a wild ride these past 3 years. But if you want to sound off on the sheriff saying they're not going to enforce the governor's gun ban, you can talk about that. Or maybe the DCFS report that just came out, rather alarming. 171 children died while on DCFS's radar in 2022. That's 49 more than were dead on DCFS's radar back in 2021, a 40% increase. And that itself shows it's not getting better at DCFS. It's like the fourth year in a row or so of increased fatalities of youth that are in DCFS custody or in their care or 12 months after they had some kind of contact with that child and the family. So you can sound off on all of these things. We've got a few moments here. 217-629-7970. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Good morning, Greg.
Hey,
I think that it's so important that these sheriffs are making these public statements. And this kind of would, in my opinion, tie back into the whole COVID thing, that if everybody in all these groups and all these people that are represented in Illinois would stand up and say no to these things that are either unconstitutional or absolutely need to be challenged because it's a government mandate with no opinion from the rest of the legislature or anything like that, with COVID restrictions for schools and things like that. So if the schools had stood up, just like the sheriffs are standing up on this type of thing, then we'd probably be in a better place right now.
Well, and I know that the sheriffs were pushing back on this initially, and were other law enforcement bribed by being carved out of the law because law enforcement don't have to register their firearms; they can go out and buy semi-automatic rifles and magazines. But the sheriffs, they didn't take that bribe. The vast majority of counties across the state saying they're not going to enforce this. They see this as not constitutional and a violation of individuals' Second Amendment rights. So will that be able to be heard in the courts? We shall see. I appreciate the call. Got to take a break. State Rifle Association's Richard Pearson next.
From the Fly SPI Studios, take the easy way out. WMAY FM, Taylorville, Springfield's News and Talk is 92.7 WMAY.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Justin Finch. Sentencing today for the Trump Organization, the company of former President Trump and his family, facing a $1.7 million fine for tax fraud.
Trump was never charged, and the defense took pains to say Trump